What's up, people? Welcome back to the Radio Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Saturday evening. I hope everyone is feeling super positive after Manchester United's 3-1 victory against Lens earlier on today. Big ups to everybody who joined us for the watch along on that game. It was a really good watch along, so big ups to all of you. We've got a massive show for everybody this evening, so do make sure to smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and let's jump straight on into it. So the big story of the day is obviously that Rasmus Højlund has officially signed for Manchester United in a deal worth £60 million up front, with an additional £4.3 million in what are being described as achievable add-on, so that will be when he plays a certain amount of matches, etc. And then there's a further £8.3 million in what are being described as difficult add-ons. Be very clear about that when you see it reporting from the mainstream media, because all of the mainstream media are reporting it as £72 million, which is incorrect. It's not that. It's 60 guaranteed, 4.3 in achievable add-ons, and 8.6 in difficult add-ons. So when you see Sky Sports, BBC Sports, all of these people saying it's 72 million, they're just giving you the whole fee. They're not giving the actual breakdown of what the deal is. And it really does frustrate me, to be honest. It really does. You don't see them do it with other teams. It seems to be only Manchester United where they just immediately say 72 million. You know, we're only going to pay 72 million if we win trophies and all the rest of it. So I think it's a little bit biased, but it is just what it is, isn't it? They do it because we're the biggest club in the world, and you know, stirring stuff with Manchester United gets them clicks and gets them likes. So just make sure when people do say that to you that you fully know what the fee is. We're only paying 60 million up front for Rasmus Højlund. I know that's a hell of a lot of money still, but 60 million is a lot less than 72. So anyway, right, let's start the story off with Rasmus Højlund though. Obviously, he did get unveiled as a Manchester United player officially on the pitch today at Old Trafford. Very special moment for him. Obviously, he's a boyhood Manchester United fan. So for him to come out on the pitch and be brought out at Old Trafford, it must have been a very special moment for him and his family. And I'm really glad that he got welcomed in the way he did by the Old Trafford crowd. So that's an amazing positive to start the show with. But there is a bit of a negative that we're going to bring to you right now. So this is about an injury for Rasmus Højlund. So lots of other fans were really hoping to see him play against Athletic Bilbao tomorrow in Dublin. Unfortunately, Rasmus Højlund is out injured for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Apparently, that is what held up his medical. So he did his medical at Carrington, and they found some sort of minor injury. He then had to go to London to get it looked at by a specialist, and they found out that he's actually injured. So apparently this injury happened when he was playing for Atalanta. We're not sure exactly what it is, but apparently he'll be out for about 2 to 3 weeks, so he won't be in the squad. I would be very surprised if we see him play for Manchester United before the international break. Obviously, he's not going to play against Wolves a week on Monday. He won't be playing against Tottenham that same week. So best case scenario, he'll probably play against Nottingham Forest at the end of the month, maybe even Arsenal. So yeah, he's going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks, apparently. We are still trying to find out what the injury is, but apparently it did come up during his medical. This has been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio has said the following on the story. Let me just get that one up for you now. So Fabrizio has said Rasmus Højlund sustained a small injury in pre-season with Atalanta. He is not yet fit to play. He is training, but will take 2 to 3 weeks to reach match fitness. This is coming out from Laurie Whitwell. So we definitely won't see him against Wolves. We definitely won't see him against Tottenham. We probably won't see him against Nottingham Forest. So I think the first time we'll see Rasmus Højlund will probably be in about a month's time when we play Arsenal away from home at the Emirates. Bit disappointing, but I can kind of see now why we started with the team that we did start today against Lens. Obviously, Rashford will probably play as the striker against Wolves. Garnacho will be on the left, which I'm really happy about. And then Anthony will most likely play on the right of that front three. I did think it worked quite well. I know the first half, a lot of you were a bit miserable about the performance. But overall, I thought it was quite a good game. And I thought against the team that finished 1 point behind PSG, I think we did pretty well, so I was quite happy with that. But obviously I am gutted that Rasmus will be out for the next couple of weeks, because it would have been great to just have him straight in the squad, wouldn't it? To have him playing in that Wolves game, even to have him playing against Athletic Bilbao tomorrow would have been really good. So it is a little bit frustrating. It is a bit of a setback for him, but obviously he's only 20 years of age. It's not like, you know, he will play for Manchester United. We'll just have to wait a little bit. There was one thing I wanted to bring into the show really quickly, just a bit of positivity. I saw some stats earlier on Twitter, so get ready for this. Rasmus Højlund has scored more league goals and assists at 20 years old than the following players: Luis Suarez, Robin van Persie, Benzema and Harry Kane. So Højlund's got 23 goals in his professional career, right, at this point. Luis Suarez had 22 at this age. Van Persie had 16, Benzema had 13, and Harry Kane only had 11. So you can see why Manchester United have paid all this money for him, because they are paying purely for potential. And when you compare that to Harry Kane, Rasmus Højlund's actually got double the amount of goals as what Harry Kane had at this point in his career. I know it's just a little bit of a fun fact. It doesn't mean that he's going to go on to be as good as Harry Kane, but I still thought it was quite interesting, you know, when rival fans are trying to say he's a flop and all the rest of it, you know, he's got double the amount of goals as what Harry Kane had at the same age. So yeah, I can see why we're paying the money. We are paying for potential, but I am just a little bit gutted that we will have to wait probably 2, maybe 3 weeks to see him actually in the Manchester United shirt. But it is what it is. Let's hope that he comes back as quickly as possible from this injury, and let's hope that he starts the season with an absolute bang. Right, let's move on to the next story though. Let's keep things moving on this show this evening. Let's talk about Eric Bailly. We do have a bidding war on our hands for Eric Bailly. I mean, who would have thought I would be saying those words? I can't believe it myself. But so there's a story coming out this afternoon saying that Manchester United have now received 2 offers from 2 different Saudi Arabian clubs for Eric Bailly. It does go on to say, though, unfortunately, that they expect the deal to be worth somewhere between £3 to £5 million. So it's not going to be a big fee for Eric Bailly. But I mean, how much did you actually think Eric Bailly would go for? I think 3 to 5 is probably very, very realistic for Eric Bailly. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I would probably say he is injury prone. He didn't have a very good loan spell last year. He got suspended for 10 games for fly kicking somebody. So 3 to 5 million for Eric Bailly, I would take that at this point. I would. He's clearly not part of Erik ten Hag's plan. So if we can get the 5, if we can get, you know, 5 million for him, I think that would be good. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Let me know in the comment section, how much do you think is a fair price for Eric Bailly? I know some of you are going to say like 10 to 15, but I just think when you consider his wages, his age, that he's injury prone and all the rest of it, I think if we can get 5 for him, I'll be happy with that. And ultimately, that is what this story is reporting this evening, that Manchester United would look to get somewhere between £3 to £5 million for Eric Bailly. And it just depends which of these 2 Saudi Arabian clubs, you know, push the trigger on it. Al Nassr are apparently leading the race. Obviously, that's the club that Cristiano Ronaldo plays for. So I do expect him to go in the next couple of days, I reckon. He obviously wasn't on the bench today. Fred wasn't on the bench either today. Fred looks like he is also going to move as well. Fabrizio came out a couple of days ago saying that Fred will 100% leave the club this summer. Obviously, he didn't go on the preseason tour to America. He wasn't on the bench today. So Fred is as good as gone. It's just a matter of which club he'll go to. At the moment, Fred's most likely option is either Fulham or Saudi Arabia. The deal to Galatasaray has reportedly fallen through. They were the ones leading the race. They put in 3 bids, one of 3 million, one of 5, and one of 8. That's euros, all of which were rejected by Manchester United. Manchester United reportedly want around £12 million for Fred's signature, which seems very, very low. But when you think that, you know, that Galatasaray's highest bid was €8 million, which is what, about £6 million. They're clearly quite a long way off. They're quite a long way off what Manchester United are valuing Fred at. We've got over 300 people in the chat today, which is absolutely massive. Big ups to everybody. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. I've just popped a link in the chat to subscribe. We're only 30 subscribers away from 8,800, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of the stream tonight. But let's keep things moving. Do let me know how much you think is a fair price for Fred, and let me know where you think he'll end up. I think most likely he'll go to Saudi Arabia, personally. Obviously, they can pay the wages that he'll want. Fulham seem to have gone very, very quiet around him, so I don't know what's happened with them. There seems to be quite a bit of uncertainty around Fulham, isn't there? Their manager, I think, was potentially going to move to Saudi Arabia. There's quite a few different things, but yeah, we will, of course, keep you updated on that one as and when we get the confirmation on where Fred will go. But as Fabrizio says, Fred will 100% leave the club this summer. It's just a case of which club he'll go to and how long it will take and all the rest of it. The only slight issue with the Fred deal is he is the main piece of the domino effect, which allows us to get Sofian Amrabat. So until Fred is sold, we won't be getting Sofian Amrabat. So that's the next bit of news. This is coming out from Fabrizio Romano earlier on today. Fabrizio says Manchester United are following their steps. Højlund first, then players out. Fred, Van der Beek, then there will be negotiations between the club and and Fiorentina. This is something that is up to the club. With many clubs looking for midfielders around Europe, something can happen. So Fred and Donny van de Beek are definitely on the transfer list. Both of them are going to leave the club this summer. Donny van de Beek looks like he will move to Real Sociedad. We are currently waiting to find out what's going on with that deal and to find out whether it's a permanent deal or a loan transfer. As soon as I get that news, of course, I will bring it to you. But I am hoping it's a permanent transfer, because I've said this to you many, many times on this show. Loan deals for players in their mid-20s just don't make any sense. They really, really don't. Obviously, the idea is that they go and they do really well and then the club buy them for loads of money. But how often does that actually happen when you think about it? You know, think of our recent loan signings. We got Sabitzer. He went back to Bayern. Who else have we had on loan? Igalo. Like, how often do you actually, Weghorst, like, how often do you actually buy loan players permanently? I think it's very rare. So yeah, for me, it needs to be a full transfer. He needs to go to Real Sociedad on a permanent deal and then kind of revive his career. But yeah, let me know what you think about that one. How much do you think would be a fair price for Donny van de Beek? I think anything between 15 and 20 million would be fair for me. But obviously it depends on how much the club are willing to pay. It depends on whether they're willing to pay his wages. There's so many different factors that you have to consider with transfers that it's not as easy as us just to say, oh, he's worth 20 million, you know? But yeah, let me know what you think about that one. Right, we've got a bit of an update on Mohamed Kudus as well, who is obviously someone you know I really, really like. So Mohamed Kudus, this is coming out from a journalist in the Netherlands, and they are reporting that everybody around Ajax is pretty much certain about the departure of Mohamed Kudus this summer. The moment it happens, Ajax will sign a new winger, and the list of replacements is already ready. Now, I wanted to ask you guys in this part of the show, would you like to see Mohamed Kudus at Manchester United? He is somebody who I think would fit right into our team. He can play centre forward, centre attacking mid and right wing. I think he would give us loads and loads of options, and he could double up as a second striker, which I think would be really, really helpful, especially as it looks like, you know, our only striker this summer is going to be Rasmus Højlund. So we definitely do need more reinforcements in those positions. But yeah, let me know in the comment section. Would you like to see Mohamed Kudus at Manchester United? As I said, this Dutch journalist is saying that Ajax are pretty much certain that he will leave. I know Chelsea are interested. I know Arsenal are interested. But I do think that if we could get the money together, we should definitely go in for him. If we can sell Maguire, if we can sell McTominay, we should be able to raise about 60 million, and that should be enough to get Mohamed Kudus to Manchester United. And I think he would be a quality addition to the side. I think he would really, really improve our team. So for me, it's a definite yes for Mohamed Kudus, but I wanted to bring this name to you. I wanted to get you guys' opinions. So do let me know in the comment section. Would you sign Mohamed Kudus, and how much do you think is a fair price for his signature? I think anywhere between 40 and 60 million would be a fair price for him. Anything more than 60, I think is too much. Yeah, obviously he's still very young. He's still got quite a lot of developing to do, but he did have a very, very good season for Ajax last year. So I do think he's definitely someone we should be looking at. Right, let's move on to Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. There's a story coming out this afternoon from a UK journalist saying that neither Scott McTominay or Maguire will be forced out of Old Trafford this summer. It says the Reds are open to sensible offers, but they will not just accept a bid in order to fund future arrivals. So ultimately, they're not going to push out Harry Maguire or Scott McTominay. That's what's being reported this afternoon. They're only going to let them go if a big bid comes in. What's being reported is that Manchester United want 30 to 40 million for Harry Maguire, and they want around 40 to 45 million for Scott McTominay, which sounds like a lot of money to me. I think Scott McTominay for 40 to 45, I think that's probably fair when you factor in his wages. He's on about 60 grand a week. Whereas Harry Maguire for 30 to 40, and he's on 240 grand a week, I think it's a little bit unrealistic personally. I think something between 20 and 30 is more realistic for Maguire. And Scott McTominay, I have no issues. I think 40 is a fair price. You know, he's 26 years of age. He does really well for the national team. He's played over 100 matches for Manchester United. I think 40 million for Scott is a fair price, I do, when you consider his wages and all the other things that come into it. But yeah, people in the chat are asking about how Højlund passed his medical. So just to be really clear about the Højlund injury, apparently he did his medical at Carrington and they noticed something. They noticed some sort of abnormality. So he then went to do another medical in London at a kind of private specialist place, and they then discovered he was injured. He probably didn't even know about it because obviously he was in the squads for the Atalanta games. He was training with Atalanta. So he didn't seem to know about this injury. It's obviously something minor. So it's not, you know, it's not like he's out for the whole season. It's 2 to 3 weeks. He obviously then found out, but Manchester United still went ahead with the deal because I guess they must have been reassured from these medical specialists in the London facility that whatever the injury was only like a 2 to 3 week injury. It wasn't a year or a 2 year. So they decided to go ahead with it, knowing that he will be out for 2 to 3 weeks. And that's apparently what held up the announcement and what held up the kind of the paperwork and all the rest of it, because they had to go and find out what this injury was, and they had to go and find out exactly what was going on. So that's why he will be out for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I think it is what it is, isn't it? You know, it is a bit disappointing. I would have really liked to see him play, but there's not really much we can do about that. So yeah, in relation to that question, there is your answer on how he got away with the medical. Right, let's keep things moving on the show this evening. Let's talk about Kolo Muani really quickly. Now, I know this is a name that a lot of you were really excited about, kind of around the time of Rasmus Højlund being linked to the club. So obviously, we spoke earlier on today about Gonzalo Ramos looking like he's going to go to PSG. And Florian Pletterberg, the German journalist, is reporting that apparently Kolo Muani now has a verbal agreement with PSG. Kolo Muani has decided to join PSG. He wants to leave Frankfurt this summer. Blah. So it looks like PSG are going for both Kolo Muani and and Gonzalo Ramos. Interesting, very interesting, because I would have probably wanted to go back in for one of those players now. I think we need two strikers, but it does look like both of them are off the market, and it looks like both Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos will be moving to PSG. We're not sure about the fee and all the rest of it, but I guess that doesn't really matter too much at this point. Moving on to other striker options, apparently Tottenham are in talks to sign Taremi from Porto. Again, I know this is somebody who a lot of you in the chat were really keen on bringing in, especially me. I thought he would have been a great backup option for Rasmus Højlund, because we definitely need two strikers this summer. I don't think one will be enough. So the story goes as follows. Tottenham want Taremi, and Porto are willing to sell him for 30 million euros. So it does look like Harry Kane will be leaving. Di Marzio has also reported the same thing, saying Tottenham are now in direct contact with Porto for Taremi. Spurs are ready to offer around 24 million euros, while Porto are asking for 30 million euros. So it does look like our striker options are kind of drying up. Taremi looks like he's going to Tottenham. Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos look like they're going to PSG. Obviously, the only one I can kind of think of being left is Mohamed Kudus. And he's not an out-and-out striker. He's obviously somebody who can play in a few different positions. What would you do in this situation? Because I definitely think we need another striker. I don't think Rasmus Højlund on his own is going to be enough. I liked Marcus Rashford in the second half of the game today, but I'm still not 100% convinced as playing Rashford as a striker for every game in the Prem. I'm a little bit unsure about that. But let me know in the comment section, what would you do about the second striker, knowing that Taremi looks like he's going to Spurs and Gonzalo Ramos and Muani look like they're both going to PSG. I mean, it all just boils back to Greenwood again, doesn't it? It literally makes me think that they're just going to bring back Greenwood. 3 of our targets are now going to other clubs. Obviously, we've got Rasmus Højlund, who was our number 1 target. So the only people left to get in the market are Harry Kane, who is obviously going to cost you 80 to 100 million pounds. Mohamed Kudus, who I think would be a great signing. And then other than that, there isn't really that many options, is there? There's people like Felix on loan, which I don't think would be a very good decision. Atletico reportedly want around 30 million pounds just to loan him for 1 season. But yeah, let me know what you would do in relation to the striker situation. Or do you just think that it's going to be Greenwood who will be brought back as the backup striker? Let me know what you think in the comment section. My honest opinion at this moment in time is that I probably think it's just going to be Greenwood would come back. I think that's the obvious option, isn't it? Unless we put in a shock bid for Harry Kane, but I just don't really see how that's going to happen. I really don't. Unless we sell some players in the next week or so. You know, if tomorrow we get an announcement saying Maguire's going, McTominay's going, Fred's going, Donny's going, Dean Henderson's going, then yeah, you'll have the budget to go and put in a bid for Harry Kane. But at this moment in time, we clearly are not in the market for Harry Kane. We have not got the money to do it. He's going to cost you 80 to 100 million. So I think the most realistic option, as a lot of people are saying in the chat, is that Greenwood probably is going to end up coming back, isn't he? And he will be the backup striker next season. Obviously that causes a mixture of opinions, I know that, but yeah, I think that probably is the most realistic option, because Taremi would have been the best option. He would have. He was going to be available for 20 to 30 million euros, very cheap, and would have definitely been good as a backup option. In relation to Mason Greenwood, there is a story coming out from Neil Custis this afternoon, and he is reporting the following on Mason Greenwood, just whilst we're on the topic. He says, all the players at Manchester United believe Mason Greenwood deserves a second chance. He didn't have the opportunity to clear his name in court because the charges were dropped. They know it will be difficult, but they are willing to support him through it and protect him. So apparently the Manchester United players are really pushing to get Mason Greenwood back into the squad, and ultimately are willing to give him a second chance, blah. This is coming out from Neil Custis this afternoon. Yeah, I think it does all just point to the overriding message that, you know, Mason Greenwood will probably return as the backup striker. Yeah, in relation to Harry Kane, we have got a bit of a news for you. So I know people are probably thinking, why are you talking about Kane? But we have been linked to him heavily all window, so I do think it is relevant. Bayern Munich have put in a bid of £85 million for Harry Kane. We don't yet know whether that bid's been accepted. At the moment, Bayern Munich are still thinking over this bid. Now, the question is, do Manchester United wait until the bid's been accepted? And like they did with Malacia, do they then go in and say, we'll give you 86? Harry Kane, do you want to come? I mean, that is a possibility. It really, really is. I think it's quite a small possibility. But if there is a deal there to be done, maybe Manchester United do try and do it. But I do think it's absolutely essential that for any of those types of deals to happen, for Harry Kane to come to Manchester United, you would need to sell Maguire, Dean Henderson, McTominay, you know, by all of these people would have to go. Fred, you'd have to raise 100 million, I reckon, to actually get this deal over the line. You know, 85 million in wages, probably, sorry, in player fee, probably a massive signing on bonus, probably ridiculous wages. Like, you would need 100 million definitely in the bank to be able to get Harry Kane over to Manchester United. People in the chat asking about how Rasmus Højlund got injured. I don't think Rasmus Højlund knew he was injured. That's my point. He was training with Atalanta. He was completely fine by the sounds of it. And then his first medical flagged this minor injury. He then went to a specialist. Yeah, so a bit strange. But yeah, I do think if there was any slim possibility of putting in a bid for Harry Kane, it would be a good deal to do, purely because I think if we had Harry Kane, we would be in contention to win the league. Whereas you've seen how we played today. The first half, we couldn't finish chances, could we? Mason Mount missed a pretty easy chance, let's be honest. Anthony missed an easy chance in the first half. If that's Harry Kane, you're 2-0 up. So as much as I understand the argument that he's too old and all the rest of it, Harry Kane is a short-term option. He does come in and he does score you goals. We've got over 500 people watching this afternoon, guys, which is absolutely amazing. Big ups to everybody who is joining us for the stream today. Please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're only 30 subscribers away from 8,800, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of the video. So someone says, PSG are splashing loads of cash for players this summer. Do you think Mbappe is on his way to Madrid? Yeah, I definitely think Mbappe is going to leave 100%. And that's probably why PSG are buying Kolo Muani. This is probably why they're buying Gonzalo Ramos. You know, they're throwing money around because they know that they'll get 100 to 150 million for Mbappe. So yeah, I do think that Mbappe will leave. He's not coming to Manchester United though, before people start getting excited. He's almost definitely going to go to Real Madrid, isn't he? It's almost written in the stars. We have got a bit of an update on Victor Osimhen as well. This has been quite a striker-focused show. I know a lot of you really want Victor Osimhen. I've had people in the chat constantly asking me about this player. So there's a story coming out this afternoon saying that Al Hilal, who reportedly put in a huge bid for him, says they still haven't given up on Victor Osimhen and have offered him close to £1 million per week. The Saudi side have already had a bid rejected. Al Hilal looking for one more box office signing after failing to sign Messi and Mbappe. So it does look like Victor Osimhen will leave, but whether it will be to Saudi Arabia or not, I'm not too sure. The story does go on to say that Napoli are in the process of trying to extend his contract as well. So I think the Osimhen to Manchester United chances are probably 0% now. I really do. I think if we'd have had new owners at the beginning of this transfer window, if we'd have got Qatar at the beginning, then maybe we would have had Harry Kane, maybe we would have had Osimhen. But at the moment, we still have the Glazers and we still just have to make do with what we've got. And I'm very happy with what we've got, to be fair. I'm happy with Rasmus Højlund. I'm happy with Rashford. I'm happy with Garnacho, but we definitely need another striker, 100%. Let me know in the comment section as well, what would be your next signing? Let's say that Amrabat does come to Manchester United. After we get Amrabat, who would be your next signing? Let me know in the comment section. For me, it would be another striker, and I would probably go for Kudos. I know I've mentioned this guy's name quite a few times on the show, but I think Kudos would add a lot to our team, so I definitely think he'd be a good option. Max says, I think our wingers are a big problem because of the way they constantly cut inside and shoot and don't create anything. What do you think? I agree with you, but I don't think the same for Garnacho. Garnacho is not a selfish player. He passes the ball a lot. Rashford's selfish. Anthony's selfish. Although Anthony's assist for Marcus Rashford today was absolutely beautiful. So yeah, let's give him a bit of credit. Garnacho set up a goal. Anthony set up a goal. They both did quite well today. In the second half, they were good. In the first half, they were absolutely rubbish, to be completely honest. Somebody says, should we loan Mbappe? I mean, if we could get Mbappe on loan, obviously that would be incredible, but it's not going to happen, I don't think, my friend. Like, Mbappe's on, what, £3 million a week or something crazy? So, yeah, I think the chances of us getting Mbappe are probably zero. Yeah, I cannot see Mbappe coming to Manchester United. I really, really can't. I think it's just written in the stars for Mbappe to go to Real Madrid, isn't it? It really, really is. I don't see it going any other way at this point, but you never know. You never know in football, do you? Maybe something crazy will happen. Right, let's move on to the next story, though. We've had another story this afternoon linking us to Tchouaméni. This is the third story now. A bit strange. So the story is saying that Manchester United are now considering making a move to sign Tchouaméni from Real Madrid. This is the third different journalist in the last 24 hours who's linked us to Tchouaméni. I don't get it. I really don't. Obviously, we've been linked to Goretzka as well, which doesn't make sense either. I'm not sure. Is it Manchester United trying to spin to cause positivity? I'm not really sure. Doesn't make any sense to me. But I think it's probably as we can put that one straight in the bin. Yeah, I think we can definitely put it in the bin. I do. People asking about financial fair play in the chat. So financial fair play does exist. It is real. But we don't have to balance the books until April next year. So we've got until April to sell players. So even though we've spent 170 million on Rasmus Højlund, Onana and Mason Mount, as long as we sell players now, we can still keep buying. So yeah, the only issue is, obviously, if you bought loads of players and then you can't sell your other players, then you're in trouble. So I think what Manchester United are trying to do is they're trying to offload people. They're trying to get rid of Fred. They're trying to get rid of Donny. And then once those players have left the club, then they'll buy more people. Does that make sense? Because the last thing you want is for other clubs to know that you've overspent and for other clubs to know that they can then lowball you. But yeah, I do think Amrabat will come. And as Simon says, we're never getting Tchouaméni. Yeah. I just don't understand why some of these journalists just constantly say that we're linked to him. Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I would say there's a 0% chance of Tchouaméni coming to Manchester United. 0. It's never going to happen. He cost them 80 million euros. They're never going to do it. No one says, what's your prediction for who's going to win the Champions League? Do you think the Tchouaméni stories are real? In relation to the Champions League, I think it will be Real Madrid this season. I think Real Madrid will win it. I think Manchester City would do really, really well. I think we'll probably get to maybe the quarterfinal. But yeah, I'm expecting Real Madrid to win the Champions League this year. I think they're going to be really, really strong. Obviously, they've just got Jude Bellingham. Yeah, I think Real Madrid will win the Champions League. But let me know in the comment section, who do you think will win the Champions League? Do you think Manchester United will do it? Or do you think it will be someone else? Right. It was just a short show this evening to bring you guys the news. I have got to head on out now, but thank you so much to everybody who has joined us on the show this evening. We will, of course, be back at 8 a.m. UK time tomorrow. Please do smash a like on the video before you leave, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I will catch you guys at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you guys in the morning. Lots of love. Peace out.